Hey everyone, welcome to Comedicine. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Boston, and this is the last episode of season 5. I've had such a blast this season, and I have loved all of our guests. Our guest for the closer is amazing, Liz Allen. She's an improv performer. She works primarily out of I.O. in Chicago, which is kind of a big deal, you guys. And she is also a mechanical engineer and was a pharmaceutical tech writer for 15 years before she started to transition into performing. I met her on a solo show class that was online. She's such an interesting person. I know you guys are going to love this chat. We do a little bit of improv, but actually the best improv we did was not recorded. And she shared with me that Del Close, her teacher, also a big deal, guys, used to say that improv doesn't want to be recorded. So we're just going to leave our improv. That was just for us, but please enjoy this chat with the wonderful Liz Allen. Okay, welcome Liz Allen to Comedicine. I'm so thrilled to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. We just met.
I know, we met online.
Nice. That sounds interesting.
It does sound interesting. So we met at a solo show masters class with Seth Barish.
Yes, we did.
Amazing director. And it was a great class. I enjoyed it. And I was like, you're one of my, okay, you shouldn't pick favorites, but you were one of my favorite people in the class. And then I learned you kind of, I feel like you bury the lead sometimes, and maybe that'll happen on this podcast. But like somewhere in there, you're like, oh yeah, we were talking about technical things in stories and storytelling because I'm a pedantic nerd. And then you were like, oh yeah, I'm an engineer. I was like, what? So, and then of course, you know, I love my podcast, always looking for a wonderful guest. So then,
that's so sweet. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I was so excited because sometimes I meet people and I was like, well, they can't, you know, my mom will always be like, that lady has a dog. Can she be on your podcast? I'm like, no, Mom, no, it's not what the podcast is.
Okay, that's hilarious. I hope it's okay that I have 2 dogs. I have a lot of vet questions. Kidding.
Yeah, we can get into it. No, that's fine. It's just my mom will always be like she does things that have nothing to do with the podcast, and she'd be like, maybe that person could come on. I'm like, no, because it's not what I'm doing. All right. So you're a pretty accomplished. You also, I think, are quite humble. I've learned some things about you since I met you in our class, partly from your bio and partly from just doing some like research on your, I mean, not crazy research, but like on your website. I was like,
that's very sweet of you. Yeah.
Oh, she's actually kind of a big deal.
I'll take all stalkers. I'm very happy. I appreciate this. Well, I've been doing this a long time, Sarah. I mean, I'm really old. So, I mean, you can't help but get some stuff done in 3 decades, right?
Yes. No, I think that's true. I agree. So we'll get into the improv because I know that's your main focus now. But because it's co-medicine, we're going to talk just a little bit about your early career, your kind of beginnings, because they're very different. And actually it's a little bit what co-medicine's about, people who've started in the sciences and then kind of done a hard switch. So
yeah.
But you're a mechanical engineer. I mean, I think you always are, even if you're not working as an engineer. Do you still say you're an engineer?
I believe so. I earned that degree. I'm a mechanical engineer. Now, don't ask me to recite. I mean, I could probably do the refrigeration cycle. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I'm not as nimble as a mechanical engineer as I used to be. But yeah, I believe once you are, you always are.
Okay. I have observed my friends who are engineers. I just met my neighbor who's an engineer. And like when he comes over, he's like, do you want me to fix that lock?
That's not funny.
Do you want me to put that lighting in for you? Do you want me to, it'll just take me 5 minutes. And like literally he'll text me, did you buy the new locks yet, Sarah? I'll come over. And I'm like, no, I didn't. But like, are you like that? Are all engineers like that? They just want to fix stuff?
I will say most engineers are absolutely like that. I'm more of the problem detector and less of the solver. Like sometimes when I would visit my sister, I'd say, this door hinge is broken. You should get that fixed. I wouldn't say, I'm going to go to the hardware store and fix it right now. Or I would say, you know, your heating system doesn't work. So one time I was visiting her and she declared, no optimizing. My house is fine. So I think engineers are always looking for a more elegant solution without question. That is a common denominator of being an engineer.
Okay. I wish I had some of those skills because like I am a surgeon and I should be able to change locks, you know, change a bike tire, those things.
I don't like changing a bike tire. I know my way around, you know, under the hood of a car, mostly because my father insisted that we all do our own tinkering and repairs.
Oh.
And I was the youngest. I was left at home alone with Dad after the others left. And so I became his assistant. And that taught me a lot of mechanical stuff. But I have to say, if he had not been pushing me in that way, I think I would have gone to a softer science. I always liked chemistry.
Oh.
And yeah, I actually wanted to be an endocrinologist.
Really?
I know, when I was young. And I just didn't have the guts to follow through with med school. But I know that's getting into too much psychology too early in the podcast. I didn't believe in myself enough to really, really do what I really, really wanted to do. But I could do math and science. I could do mechanical engineering. But see, I think all surgeons are mechanical engineers. My best friend is a pediatric otolaryngologist, and she's a mechanical engineer.
Okay,
I mean,
I have to think
not
about
by
that
training,
now.
but I think all surgeons are by default. That's my opinion. What do you think of that?
I like figuring out problems, I guess. I like being a problem solver, and I like fixing things with my hands, but only living things.
Well, that's okay. It takes all types. Most engineers I know faint at the sight of blood. So good job
There
for
you
doing
go.
what you do.
There you go. But being a mechanical engineer is not like when you said, oh, I don't know if I believed in myself. It's not like it's nothing. Like, it's a pretty hard degree. It's pretty grueling.
No, it was. Okay, so let me clarify.
Yeah.
Well, I really have jumped right into the deep end here.
Let's do
emotionally.
it. I love it.
I've always believed in myself academically, but I didn't believe, and I believed I could finish that degree, and I did. And, there were certainly a lot of hard times and, a lot of, you have to dig deep and find something inside yourself to finish and follow through on this. And once I got done with that, I doubted myself if I could follow through with the chomp for med school. But mostly I listened to my dad too much, and he said, what a waste of time. And I still, I regret it. Yeah, I regret that I didn't listen to myself. And what improv has taught me is how to listen and trust myself.
Oh, I love that. So your dad thought being a doctor was a waste of time. Mm-hmm. Really?
Oh, yeah. He thought teaching art was a waste of time. And he said, if you study art or education, I'm not helping. So what do I do now? I teach art.
You teach art? Oh, amazing. Amazing. Oh, that's cool.
I think he really thought, but that was his own bias. Those were his bad views. But I didn't know at 17, 18, 19, and then in my early 20s, I didn't know how at that time to separate his tsunami influence on me. I didn't know how to pull all that apart. Of course, I look back now and think, yeah, I could have done it. I could have pulled it off. I didn't know quite how to make my own path yet. And then improv taught me how to make my own path.
Oh, that's cool. I think a lot about, I don't know, I was thinking about this today. I don't know why. I was thinking about Nepo babies. I'm very jealous of Nepo babies, but...
Oh, you are? Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. But just because, but I think it's just what they saw. Like, I don't know that they necessarily, well, they probably get some easy breaks, but some of it's just like, oh, my dad's a famous actor. I can be a famous, like, I can do that, right? Like, you just do what you see.
I don't want to say no to what you're saying because I understand and I agree with the philosophy. However, I will say my experience in life, I don't know what your thoughts are on this. Nepo babies certainly get you in the door.
Yeah.
But if you can't deliver, you can't deliver.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And I do like that I've seen situations where the door was open for someone, but they couldn't deliver. And so my whole thing has always been like, give me a chance, let me in the door, let's see if I can deliver.
Yeah. It's just getting in the door, I guess. But yeah, no, I agree. But I think it's also just like you see that you could make a career out of art. Because my father wanted to be an artist. Like he was a poet and a playwright. But he became a teacher because he was always like, no, you have to have a vocation. Like, it's just very practical, right? And that was kind of my household. It was like, you need to be be practical, right? Like, and so, yeah, I think we maybe limit ourselves with that practicality. Now, I love what I do, but would I have, gone to art? Because I actually saw the opposite. I saw art is beautiful. We appreciate art in this house. We love art. But that's not a career.
Isn't this interesting? So, I mean, I will say my dad's lesson was be practical, but on his terms. Because I do think there's some practicality. I don't like improv that doesn't work. I want improv that's going to succeed. I want to figure out how improv works. So I bring engineering to how does improv work? I know that's like the overlap. When I saw improv, I mean, I was very taken with it. I was impressed and intrigued, but I was also dubious. And I figured there must be a trick. And I was way in the middle of, up to my eyeballs engineering, technical writing at a pharmaceutical facility. And so when I saw improv, I couldn't believe that there was a known repeatable path, that they must be mic'd. They must plan ahead. And so part of why I signed up for class was to figure out the trick. And then I learned the trick is faith and trust, and it really is spontaneous, and that there is rehearsal, but it's rehearsal of how to be together.
Okay, I'm fascinated by this because I think I do sometimes think with comedy, like there's a science or a math aspect to it, like, or that you can bring that to it. Like you can say, yeah, we can bring that. So when you said you wanted to bring engineering to improv, like what are you bringing? Rules? What are you bringing as an engineer?
I think what I'm bringing, a trained way of taking apart a system, because that's certainly what engineers are taught to do. We're taught, what is the system? What are the systems? Separate them. How do they harmonize? Understand each system and how they work together. And if there's a problem, well, which system is the problem in? And identifying how the systems operate. So when I met improv, I just started to dissect it to understand, okay, if you're going to dissect painting something on a canvas, you've got paints, you've got the canvas, you've got humidity, you've got the mood of the artist, or I think are some of the systems. And in improv, what was interesting is that it's humans who are going to be different every minute of every day. And what are some of the guidelines these humans use to create art together spontaneously? I needed to understand all those systems.
Okay, I love this. Okay, so I'm going to ask hard questions.
You're cracking me up. That you're finding this fascinating.
I am genuinely finding this fascinating because I don't consider myself an improv artist, but I took improv in comedy school and I love it. I genuinely love it.
Oh, great.
I don't know that I'm particularly good at it. Like but I see so much value in improv and I see it like just on its own. I see value as a stand-up performer. I see value as a speaker. I see value as like somebody who works in a hospital with 150 people. We all have to get along.
Yeah, you see improv as valuable in those scenarios.
I just see it everywhere. I'm like, this is great for this. And it's also, I think some people, the pure improvs are like, no, it's just an art. It's just an art form on its own. It doesn't have to be for things. I see it as kind of both.
I agree. I see it standalone and it enhances so many other things. Improv worms its way. Like we're improvising right now. We have no script.
No script.
Yeah, we're improvising. And I do think that there's situations that I always find improv can really, really help. And if you know that you can recruit improv, it's like another tool in your tool belt. And that's what I find fascinating, or one of the things I found really fascinating about improv is how to take it off stage and where to put it.
Yeah. Okay.
But also on stage, a million things on stage. And it also just gives you confidence that when all of, the wheels come off all the buses, you're going to be okay. We're going to figure it out. Improv teaches us we're going to be okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. I have a recurring fantasy because I do a lot of speaking like to veterinary audiences about cancer surgery. And I have a recurring fantasy. I have this actually, first of all, I have this memory of someone who had very fancy slides and they had like a video. And it was like when people first started embedding video and it was a big conference and her video didn't work. And she started, this is not funny, but she started crying. Like, she was so distraught that her video didn't work and she'd worked hard on this and she started crying. And I was like, that's never going to happen to me. Like,
that's good of you.
That's never going to happen to me. And so I have a fantasy that everything blows up, my slides don't work, and I just go, okay, let's talk about whatever. And so, but you have to have some improv in you to be okay with that and not start crying.
Now I do. I can see there were times in my lives when that would have upset me. And when you're very, very, very product oriented, that sort of thing is just almost unrecoverable. But improv has taught me that the process is as important, if not more important, than the end product, and that the process of all of us going through something together, even when you, Sarah, are the speaker and these people are listening, you're still going through something together. And that journey of togetherness is actually, in my opinion, where the real value lies. It's not in the product of, was this a clean, neat, perfectly put together talk? It's more of, how did we get through it? I've been in shows where the lights went off spontaneously and then we keep improvising in the dark. I've been in shows. I was at this show once in downtown Chicago for a dog rescue. Hey, vet. For a dog rescue. I don't even know what to call this thing. There were 900 dogs in a pavilion in downtown Chicago. And so we were doing improv as a fundraiser, but the dogs didn't quit barking.
Yeah, of course.
So we just kept improvising. Dogs came on stage. They became part of the scene because we just are taught you got to go with it. Now, this sounds glib, like, oh, I can handle everything. This is years of learning.
Yeah. Yeah. to not be thrown. So, okay, you were talking about bringing like that improv is systems. And as an engineer, you're like, okay, what's not working? What's not working? I don't know if you can do this or not, because it may be too abstract, but like, what are the systems? Like, if you're as a improv performer or as a group, an improv group, what are the systems that, like, when you break it down like that? Yeah. What do you see as systems? Does that make sense as a question?
Yeah, I think I can answer that. I hope I can. The first system and the most important overriding system is the system of the ensemble. How does the group interact? And that is the first and foremost system. And that system has to work and run smoothly. If the ensemble isn't a smooth system, and I don't mean everybody gets along and they're all happy. What I mean is these people know how to harmonize and put the group's goals ahead of their individual goals. And if everyone has that mindset, then that's a good chance that system's going to work. The ensemble is important. As a coach, I think your number one job is to form the ensemble. Then the other system is everybody's individual abilities, each individual person. And then the third system is the piece itself you're creating. And I believe in this, the engineer in me, it took me a long time to get to believe what I'm about to tell you, which is the piece is its own living entity and talks to the individuals. If you really know how to set up, you can listen to an improv piece. It'll tell you what it wants at the halfway point. It'll begin to motivate you to edit. This isn't provable. I can't write the equation for this, but I can tell you in the lab, it works. So the system is ensemble, individual skills, the whole piece. And then I would have to say there's a system of improv itself, which is like the math. There's improv as a standalone system of a thing that we study.
Okay. I'm trying to think about it in a mathematical way. I love it because I'm so nerdy. So like when you're trying to develop a character, or like, is there a formula for that? When you're like, okay, I'm going to try to develop my character. I'm going to try to develop the scenario, whatever's happening, in this scene.
I can't say there's a guaranteed formula, but I can say there's guidelines.
Okay.
No, in fact, the thing about improv, and this is probably what's kept me intrigued for 3 decades, the minute you really, really try to nail it down and go, I got it, I know it now. Improv's like, nope, and slips away. And it's a different attack. Improv is like, it's hard to catch. And that's one of the things I love about it. And we just do the best we can. And the more humble we approach improvising, usually the better the outcome is for the group. And we don't try to have a formula of funny. It's a formula of discovery, or I should say it's guidelines of discovery. So no, I can't say there's a formula. Here's how to go be a good character. But I can tell you there's guidelines.
Okay. All right. Okay. No, I love that. I think where I get stuck sometimes with improv is like not even trying to be funny, but just make sure I don't know. I think I don't free myself to just say whatever's in my head. I guess I'm trying to think too hard. I think that's my problem when I improvise. So that's what I know I need to work on. But yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. When you're afraid to say what, just blurt things out. Well, what's the concern? What holds you back?
It's almost like I'm just blanking. Like, it's like when someone goes, who's your favorite comedian? Like, they know I do stand up. And I'm like, I can't even think of one. Then I'm just like, I don't, or like if I go to a music store or like, what book did you just read? Like, I just like, so it's not even improv. I'm like this in real life too. Because people are like, oh, you do comedy. Like, who's your comedians you like? And then I'm like, I don't know. I can't even think of one right now. Like, it's just a weird, I don't know if that's weird. It must be, I don't know.
No, it's not weird. It's really, really common, actually. It's really common. Okay. And it's something I hear a lot as a teacher of improv. And my encouragement always is, I wonder if sometimes people blank because they don't want to get it wrong inside themselves. And then later tonight, they'll go, you know what I should have said was the book I just got. Yeah. But right. And that's normal. But what you have to do is trust that you're going to give an answer. And it isn't the set in stone verifiable right or wrong answer. It's just the answer in the moment.
Yeah, even if you just made up a name.
Yeah, like if I were to say, what's your favorite tree, Sarah?
See, I'll just blank. No, I just go a pine tree.
Yeah, I love a pine tree too. They're so simple. Now, the thing that you have to learn as an improviser is to not beat yourself up later and go, I should have said maple. I'm in Canada, for God's sakes. You have to begin, and this takes years of learning that what I said is what I said. And we're moving on. I'm telling you, the people who especially improvise with me early would know how hard of a journey this was for me to not flog myself later, because I'm an engineer where there's right and wrong, black and white. It doesn't exist in improv. You say what you say and you move on.
Yeah, that for me, that's crowd work. Like when I do crowd work as a comedian, which is improv.
It's 100% improv.
It's improv that has some pretty lame openers though. And like sometimes I'm just like, oh, like you two dating? What do you do? Where are you from? And I'm just like, oh, someone shoot me. Like I don't want to do crowd work like that. You know what I mean? Like I just think it's, yeah, I get, so I don't love that. And then I think, but sometimes like things will happen spontaneously. And sometimes you can be really funny in the moment and sometimes you can't. But I will come out like after I'll be driving home and be like, this would have been so funny if I would have said whatever, you know?
But see, all right, now I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
You don't know that it would have been so funny.
Oh,
you're just
interesting.
thinking back in the vacuum of your perspective after. And see, that's not a verifiable view. And I'll tell you, that's straight from engineering. Like, we don't know, I should have put this oil in, it would have worked. You don't know. I mean, maybe you could have experimented and the odds are maybe you're right, but you're not guaranteed that you know how it would have gone. You don't know. And that's one of the things also that was hard as an engineer to know, that the experiment and the outcome and the data is in this moment. And all you can work on later is the math of improv of like, say yes more, trust the group more, trust yourself. But you can't look at a situation and tinker with it the way you can written material. Now, written material is a whole different animal. And Seth was real clear about that in class, I thought. He's so good about when you write material, you're inviting the audience through an experience. And yes, could you have made it clearer? Yeah. But when you're improvising, you get what you get.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. Maybe that'll help me my next time I'm hosting.
Here's the other thing, too, is if you know you don't like the question, are you two dating? Why don't you ask them where they got their shoes?
Yeah, no, that's amazing advice. Yeah. Not just, but yeah, I know I've been thinking about it. I just need to come up with different, like, because I find it lame. Like, I find it really like hack and lame. So I don't do that. But you're right. I should just be like, come up with something totally. It's just that I think it's like, even when you meet someone at a party or you meet someone, you're like, what do you do? Which some people don't like to talk about that, right? Or like you always have to categorize like what's your deal exactly, right? Like who are you with? Who's that guy? Is that your husband, or is that your, you know, are you straight, or what are you? You know, like we always seem to need to do that. Strange.
I agree. No, I agree.
Strange.
But I mean, and improv has gotten me in trouble because I've blurted out probably some socially, you know, awkward things. Seriously, like there's rules on stage and then maybe there's social improv rules.
Rules in life.
Though when you're doing crowd work, Sarah, I'm gonna encourage you to not pre-plan the question and let it find you. See, let the question find you when you're out there and you're drawn to someone in the audience. Who knows why? We don't have time to analyze it. And you'll see, the whole point of improv is we need to be okay being surprised ourselves.
Oh, I love that. You should do an improv class for comedians, crowd working.
Oh, for stand-ups, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, we're lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, at the theater at IO, stand-ups have come through a lot. I always admire stand-ups that study improv because it's letting go of the outcome of the work on stage.
Yeah, they're different and they're the same, right? Like there's always this thing about like, you know, stand-ups make fun of improv performers and improv. Do you feel this? I don't know. This is a thing in the Toronto and Ottawa. And then improv performers make fun of stand-ups. I'm like, but they're so, like, they are so interconnected. Especially for stand-ups. Like stand-ups, I think, need improv. Improv probably doesn't need stand-ups as much. But
I don't know. I think stand-up really helps improv. It helps you become a crisper, more confident performer.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, there's a healthy rivalry there. I think it's funny. I think the line between stand-up and improv is blurring now in the last maybe 5 years. When I first started in the 90s, you're right. There was a big separation, a lot of poking fun, but also respect. Also a lot of respect. Because especially for me, looking at a stand-up, I was like, I don't know how they do that. And maybe a stand-up has said to me, how do you go on stage without a script?
Yeah, that's, I think as a stand-up, because I like to I'm like, everything will be typed out for me. Like even the stand-ups who are like, I got some beats, and I get up there, I'm like, oh, no. Like I have everything is like right here. Yeah, so.
But that right there, Sarah, is why your animals lived through surgery.
I know. How do we translate that? So, okay, you're working as an engineer. You went and saw improv, and then your whole life changed. What happened? Like
It was a 15-year change.
Oh, okay. It wasn't just like,
no.
So you started taking improv classes.
Started taking classes, taking a few more classes, finding about other theaters, about other schools of thought. I started at the Second City here in Chicago that started in Toronto. And then I took classes at Second City, and then everybody said, there's this place called Improv Olympic, which is now IO. And everyone said, if you want to learn about long-form improv, which is a 30 to 45-minute piece of cohesive theater created by an ensemble, mostly on one suggestion, as opposed to short form improv, which is discrete games. So I started studying long form improv, and one class led to another. And then I signed up for another session. And I was so intrigued with this idea of a system of ensemble. I was so intrigued that if I went out and offered something, everyone would support it. Cut back to, I'd like to go to medical school. No. I was looking for a yes, and I didn't realize that. I was looking for, ensemble support. The joke I always say about my dad is if you said to my dad, Dad, would you like a turkey sandwich? He'd say, nah, I'm going to make myself a turkey sandwich. Because nothing could ever be anybody else's idea.
Oh, which is the opposite of improv, right?
Improv is only other people's ideas.
Oh, that's very cool.
So it was a long, slow turn the ship. Did I think I could make any cash teaching improv? It's still not, it's not. Just plain old teaching improv is not going to do it. Like, you have to supplement. I loved performing so much, and then I got real lucky. I got on this team, and we were together for 3.5 years, and it was just a dreamy era that I'm so grateful for. It taught me to trust people and to be trustworthy. So it was slow.
I've never had that. Like, I think I would love that because I've had like improv classes and stuff, and then like, I don't know what you call it, but sometimes there's the little bit greedy performer. Does that that wants to change it or isn't listening or is,
you mean jerks in class? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, jerks in class. Well, it's just like, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
I get kind of annoyed by that. Like, I'm just kind of like, no, that's like, because I'm such a rule follower. I'm like, that's not the rule. Like, people who just bring in like, this thing is building and it's like people are listening and everyone's the scene is building, and all of a sudden someone will just come in with this like, they think it's just a great idea, and like, you're supposed to accept everyone's ideas, but you're like, nerdy Sarah. I'm like, that has nothing to do.
Well, that's annoying, isn't it? Because you feel like it changes the momentum. But I will tell you, okay, so I'm gonna argue the opposite, and this is annoying. Do it. Well, we're talking in a vacuum, and we're talking theoretically.
Yeah.
Theoretically, you should be able to improvise with that pine tree that you said your favorite tree. Like, theoretically, somebody comes in and says no all day long and they throw a giant Mack truck into the scene.
Yeah.
Theoretically, you got to yes it, and you got to figure out your way around it. It's hard, but I'm just saying theoretically. What you also need in that moment is a strong teacher and coach.
Yeah. Yes.
To identify what's happening, and is that person maybe panicking? Maybe they don't feel they've contributed all day. Maybe that person is just a panicking improviser and needs to be calmed. But until you can identify that problem in that part of the system,
right?
In the meantime, everybody has to say yes.
Okay, but then if you're developing an ensemble and you have someone who consistently does that, do you just say, whoop, like, we don't improvise well together? Like, is that just, what I'm saying? Like, when you build a group, like, you were very warm about your group that you worked with for 3.5 years. I would assume that no one in the group is being that greedy improviser because you guys have learned to work together. Or is it just that everyone's learned to deal with that if that ever happens, if someone just has a moment where they're, I don't know, they're jumping in.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great question. I mean, I can't say I was a perfect improviser with these people. I was probably a Mack truck a lot. But they had a lot of compassion and they trusted me. So I think ensemble is less about always being a clean yes player and more about everybody gives each other a margin, because we're all going to have terrible days. We're all going to come in bad moods. Those people gave me so much margin, and I hope I gave them margin. But the other thing I'll say about this is it is rare to find your group of people. Maybe it's going to happen 2-3 times in your life. A real ensemble is rare. And that was hard for me to begin to accept as a coach, because I was like, oh, everybody will play together great. No. The really strong ensembles, and that kind of makes them even more precious, they're few and far between. It's more likely that you meet a lot of people that you don't connect to. So that's why I generally encourage improvisers, if you find people you connect with, cling to them.
Okay.
Don't take it for granted.
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, no, it's like having the perfect dog. You only get a couple in your life.
That's sweet. Can I ask you this about your surgery group of people? I bet you all are an ensemble because you have to work together to do the surgery. That's an ensemble.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very team oriented. Like we talk as a team. This is our team. You know, everyone has a role in the team. There's not so much improvising, I would say, but there's definitely like we're all working towards a common goal. Ideally, again, worked in lots of different hospitals. So
you're describing an improv ensemble. Everybody has a role. It's just like a sports team. You know, maybe, but then you learn people's strengths and you go to them, but then everybody has to cover for everybody. But I will make a guess about your surgery team, and I don't know if I'm right or not, but when something happens, let's say the liver's on the other side. I don't know what I'm talking about, but let's say you come upon something unexpected. You all have to work together seamlessly.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, unexpected things happen all the time in medicine.
See, you laughed at liver, but I bet that happens all the time, that a liver's on the other side of the dog.
All the time. I'll call you next time it happens. I'll be like, it happen again?
I want a picture.
I think the only difference, and I'm not saying this is good, and I think better teams in surgery are better at this, is there's always a feeling of hierarchy, and you sort of need to try to, you know, take that away as much as possible. But ultimately, if you're the surgeon, everything's your responsibility, right?
No, that's a good point.
So
that's true.
I think,
that's true.
But I think the good teams, like you want teams to feel like anyone on that team can say, hey, I don't think that's right, or, you know what I mean? And you need to listen to them, because sometimes it's like the intern, or like, you know what I mean? Like it's someone who's not even necessarily trained, but they've seen something and they don't think it's right, you know? And so you better listen to them, because they may be picking up on something that you're just too busy or you're not paying attention. So I think that's where breaking down a hierarchy in a medical context, and where improv might help, because you're trying to teach everyone to value everyone on the team and listen to everyone on the team.
That's
why veterinarians should do improv.
Well, yeah, I mean, the list is as long as our arm. I'm very biased. I think everybody should do improv. But I also feel that I always try to say that a group has a hierarchy, but it should be invisible when the operation is happening. When the group is working together, the hierarchy should be invisible. Yeah. However, of course, if there is a hierarchy and there's a leader, that person has to know how to remove the leadership in the moment of improv. And what bothers me is a lot of times I'll have CEOs or C-suite type people will come to me and go, fix my team while I get coffee. I'm like, forget it. Unless you're willing to jump in too, you are a part of the team.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I love that. I just want to give a quick shout out to our season 5 sponsor, ScribeNote. ScribeNote is the first AI scribe in veterinary medicine, and it's amazing. If you are not using an AI scribe, you guys, you got to get on it. Check out ScribeNote. ScribeNote was founded in March 2023. It's a pretty amazing story. Katie is a veterinarian. Her brother Ryan, who's an engineer, was following her around at work, and he recognized, hey, you vets, you're so inefficient. You're doing everything twice, sometimes 3 times. Let me help you with that. I've used ScribeNote in the exam room. I'll just bring it into the room as an app on my phone, and I just let the clients know, and then I can talk to it and basically tell ScribeNote what I'm finding during my physical exam. It records it, it summarizes it, it's all there. If I have to hop to another appointment right away, it doesn't matter. I don't have to worry about remembering it all. ScribeNote's got me covered. It's also been fantastic for me for when I'm calling a client and I need to record that conversation, because, you know, we got to record everything now. If I have a 20-minute conversation, after that, I have another 20 minutes of typing. But now, no more, because of ScribeNote. So thanks, ScribeNote. Everybody check it out. I promise it'll make your life better. They have already helped with 2 million notes to date. That's millions and millions and millions of minutes that we get back. Thanks, ScribeNote. Okay, I'm going to try to go through your career, but it's hard because it's so many things. I couldn't even write them all down. There was like, okay, you're at IO, but then you were a trainer at IO, you're a performer at IO, a director at IO. And is that the main part of would you say your main part of your improv career was with IO?
For sure.
Okay. And then and then this is the other thing. Oh, well, I'm going to say you kind of buried the lead because you didn't tell me this. You were I don't know if you would say teacher or coach, but for Mike Birbiglia's film, Don't Think Twice, you were what do you call it? The coach for that group, the Commune? Okay. So what was that like?
Oh, amazing. Dreamy.
Really?
Dreamy, a memory that I cherish. So the backstory is I met Mike Birbiglia when he was at Georgetown, and I flew out from IO. Georgetown hired my team, Frank Booth, that I spoke of earlier, to come out to Georgetown. This was 98, I think.
Okay.
And do a show and teach some improv workshops. And I met Mike when he was, I think, 20. And a million years later, mutual friends reconnected us. And he said to me, hey, you know, I remember you from coaching at Georgetown. I followed, the improvisers, would you want to look at the script I wrote about an improv group? And it's called Don't Think Twice. And I said, oh, I'd be honored. Thank you. What I loved about his script was that he didn't pull any punches. He didn't glamorize or sort of glorify improv. He showed that it's broken theaters and dismal, small audiences, but the love of the group is the heart of the whole thing. And then his script required that these actors appear as though they've been working together for 11 years. So he asked me to come coach the actors in improv. Some of them had done a ton of improv. Some of them had never improvised. I had to make this group have this intimacy that you would get from an 11-year improv team.
Yeah.
In some ways, it's much more intimacy than you'd ever get from a family.
Wow.
Right? There's just something about the experience of vulnerability on stage with nowhere to hide, nowhere to run, over and over. You must build such deep trust and knowledge. So I felt real lucky. Mike asked me to work with the group, and we had such a great time, and everyone was so enthusiastic and jumped in.
Very cool. All right. Well, you probably know from our class, I'm a huge fan. And if someone did ask me who my favorite comedian was, I probably wouldn't blank. And I would say it's Mike Birbiglia.
You would say Mike Birbiglia.
Oh, I would. Yeah, no, 100%. I am a huge, huge fan. I've watched all his shows, and that style of stand-up and storytelling is what I like. When I see that, I'm like, that's what I want to do. Like, that's what I want to create, Yeah.
You mentioned that in class. I take full credit for Mike's career. I taught him.
I think you should. I think that, yeah, you should. So I met him twice. But not really. Not really. Once was when it was during COVID, and I was on I did a little story. I think I told you guys the story about the poodle sweater when I was on, and it went okay, but not. I'm sure he wouldn't even remember it. Or if he remembered it, it would just be like, that's the weird poodle sweater lady. And then the other time I was in LA for work, and I looked, and the new one was in LA. So I took a train into I don't even know where the theater was, where just by myself. I remember taking the train. I was kind of scared. I was talking to the police at the station. I was like, is it okay for me to be here? It should be fine. And then I'm walking over people lying on the stairs, and I'm like, I don't know. But anyway, and I went to the theater, and I saw the new one. It was amazing to see it live. And then there was a signing after, and I was so excited to meet him, and it did not go well.
No, why? What do you mean?
No, it just I think he's probably just there signing so many fans, and I was just so excited. I was like, hi, I love your work. My name's Sarah. I'm an author, and I'm a veterinary surgeon, and I'm a comedian. And he just looked at me and he goes, that's a lot of things, but not in a good way, Liz.
No, I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that at all. I mean, I'm always so impressed that he takes so much time to sign and meet people afterwards.
You're right. No, it was great. I had different expectations.
Why? What were your expectations?
I don't know. I don't even know. I was like, maybe he would like me, or maybe he would think that was cool or whatever.
Well,
but he just
may have liked you and did think it's cool. See, you don't know. You don't know. I bet it went much better than you think. I'm being really serious here. I have to tell you too. I was on and watching the show that you were the poodle lady. I was watching in the audience.
Oh, I want to know what you think then.
I thought you're great. Are you kidding me?
Really? I didn't know you were there. I love that. See, you drop leads all the time. You're so mysterious. You're so mysterious, Liz.
What are you talking
You're the
about?
most mysterious woman I've ever met. I love this. Yes. Okay.
Oh my God.
My time limit was so tight, and I'm a nerd, so I was sticking to the time.
I love it. That's respectful. And actually, that's one of the things I loved is you didn't do what I'm doing right now, which is ramble.
No, it's a podcast, and it's an improv podcast. So if you didn't ramble, well, we would just be quiet. It wouldn't be a good podcast. Okay. So I shouldn't be talking about myself so much though. But anyway, so then do you remember the woman who talked about she pooped in a
container,
a baby potty thing in her car?
I'm not remembering all of those details, but I'm remembering there was a poop theme in one of the shows.
Yes.
Was this one of them?
Yes, and she ran the light. I'm just saying, she majorly, she was just like, this is my moment. I'm on Mike Birbiglia's show. And she went for 5 minutes or something. And I was like, I could have been told so much better story, but I was like, 90 seconds, here it is, baby. Anyway.
You have to tell yourself, in my opinion, I don't mean to tell you how to live your life, Sarah, but I'm going to tell you, if you're going to ask from an improv standpoint.
Yeah, I love it.
You did great. You did what you did. You said what you said. Was Mike able to work with it? Yes. That's a huge gift to a performer. And I'll tell you, I think performing on Zoom must have been so weird for anybody who performed on Zoom during COVID, So you offered a nugget of something for your fellow partner to grab onto. Your partner in that moment was Mike.
Hey,
and you
I love
offered
this.
something for that person. Did you get shut down? Were you told, never mind, lady?
No, I just felt like the thrust of my story was how funny it was, because it was like, I thought, okay, this isn't going to make sense to people, but I thought my husband was like trimming his pubes in the bathroom because there was all these like curly hairs everywhere.
I think that came across.
I was like, really? Okay. And I was like, because we were so new, like, it was like a new relationship. And I was like, what the hell is he doing in the bathroom? And I was like judging like all this stuff. And then I realized it was the poodle sweater shedding what looked like pubes, but were actually poodle hairs all over the house. So I was just, no, it was fine. I was honored to be there. And also John Laster was in my little Zoom room. Nicest guy ever. So nice. Like sometimes you meet comedians who are kind of famous and they're so nice and you're just like, why are you even being nice to me? And I saw him. This is the funniest thing also. I saw him at the Comedy Cellar.
Oh, that's great.
I was at the Comedy Cellar. I was going to the bathroom and I saw him and I was like, hey, like, I'm Sarah. I don't know if you'd remember me. And then he goes, yeah. What's Mike doing tonight? And I'm like, I don't know, John. Like, as if I would know.
Okay.
He didn't tell me. It was so funny. Anyway.
All right. No. Sarah, I'm pulling down my math chart right now because we have evidence of your contribution in that moment.
All
One,
right.
John remembered and asked you, what's Mike doing? Okay, so John connected you. Two, I remember your story years later. I don't remember the details and I couldn't retell it, but you know how I describe it? Interesting.
Okay.
Three, Mike was able to build on what you offered, and that's all you do.
Okay.
You can't offer something and control how it's perceived.
Ever, though.
When you're writing, yes.
Oh,
absolutely.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But when you're improvising, and in that moment, you and Mike were improvising, and you offered a story, and I remember he had like 3 funny things that he commented on your story. You made the guy whose show we were all at, you made that guy look good. That is a successful improviser. Improv is of service to others constantly, over and over. Who's the other guy? I had to bring in my stick figures. Who's this person? You get this person hired. And that's why I appreciate that you say I'm mysterious, and I hope I'm not. I hope I'm transparent and available. But what I try to be is there for others. That's the root of my improv training, is that I'm supposed to make them look good, and in turn, they make me look good. You made Mike look good. I mean, that's an A+ for improv.
Okay. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it.
I don't think you believe me.
I'll take it. I have another question. It's a totally random question, but I want to see if I can connect a whole circle here. Do you know an improv performer who spent time at I.O. named Matt Asciuto?
I'm sorry, say the name again.
Matt Asciuto.
I know a lot of Matt.
Oh, that might be hard.
I always know the last name. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I can't possibly. These last names
that's
are always
okay.
a problem.
Yeah,
Why?
I get that. Because he became a veterinarian after he left improv, and he was on my show. I'll send you the episode. You can tell me if you remember. He is an amazing person. He's absolutely wonderful. So you might know him, and that would be like...
Wait, that's your husband?
No, it's my husband. No, he was a guest on this show. He was a guest on Comedicine.
I thought maybe your husband was a guest on the show.
No.
This is where deafness. This is where
it all falls apart. She was like, she married Matt Asciuto? No, he's married. He's married to someone else.
I see. You're okay.
I think he'd make a lovely husband. Shout out to Matt.
I get what you're saying. In theory.
Yeah, in theory. Okay, I have another couple questions for you. So you're now getting into solo show, which is different. Like... It's I would assume more scripted.
Yeah, very scripted.
And you've done one solo show, but you're working on a second one. Is that right?
That's accurate. Yeah.
So how is it different? How are you bringing improv to solo show performing?
It's so hard. Part of why I'm doing a solo show is for the exact same reason I was intrigued with improv. For a million years, I would watch people do solo shows, and I'd literally think, how does that work? How do you build that? How do you do that? That seemed so impossible to me, having learned being on stage with a bunch of other people, that then you're on your own. And not only are you just writing a few jokes here and there, you're weaving a cohesive story. It seemed really challenging, but for a long time, like 20 years out of the last 30, I've been asking myself deep down, could I make one of those? And how? And so I just slowly kind of, I don't know, just things happen that were sort of signs, better sit down and write some stuff. I think it's interesting. I was a technical writer. So for engineering, I found technical writing. So I loved to take a really complex machine and make it a manual that someone non-technical could understand it. I really enjoyed that from engineering. So I thought, could I write this? And how different would it be from improv? And actually, I've been very lucky. I've had a lot of help and input from friends of mine who are sketch writers. And Mike has offered a lot of beautiful guidance about, you know, what it entails to write a solo show. Seth's class, that was my third or fourth, Seth Barish class. Can't recommend that enough. Don't you agree for helping?
Yeah. I mean, you and I both would be sometimes like, oh my God. And like sometimes it wasn't even my work. Like, you know, you only present every other class. It didn't matter because like listening to someone else and then watching him, and I mean this in a respectful way, but dissect it down. And he would just be like, to me, it was like this, is this a thing? And then
laser focus.
Oh, like, yeah, it was crazy. And he'd be like, okay, do it again, but do this one note. And then everyone would be like, oh yeah, do that.
It was crazy. Incredible to me. I mean, I'd like to think that I have a bit of an eye for improv. I don't have an eye for written material. And his eye for this written material, mind-blowing.
Yeah. No, I did 3 classes as well. I'm like, maybe I could do another one. It feels like very worthwhile. And then also you were like, I know this. Like, you know, like sometimes I've had coaches for my stand-up too. And they're like, do this, Sarah. And I'm like, I know that. You just need someone to like, I don't know, help you see what you're missing or I don't know. So yeah, that was very cool.
I'm trying to give myself a break on that. It's funny that you mentioned that because solo show writing, like I've listened to his theories, I've done certain things, but it takes forever, I think, to like get a skill in your bones. And improv, I give myself a break because it took years and I'm still learning when I perform. It's an evolutionary process. So I'm trying to give myself a break. But what you asked me, what is it different from improv? It's so funny because when I started doing solo work, I kept waiting for the back line to tag me out. And I would look back, I'm like, oh yeah, it's me. It's a definite marathon that I had to get used to how to run that hour-long or hour-5 marathon.
Do you feel like in improv, like you need a break? Like, I don't know, you get a break, someone tags you out and you get off, or?
No, you don't need a break, but a break's nice.
Okay.
And then sometimes a break can be dangerous because then this person goes on the back line and then they start getting in their head and thinking, oh, I should have said maple tree. Yeah. So what's important is stay in the moment, even if you're not in the scene.
Okay. So you're not really on a break because you have to listen still. That's what you're saying. Okay.
And you never know if your improviser is going to break their ankle and you might have to go in for them.
So pay attention. Always. Always pay attention. The little man, stick man, I think I need more. What? Okay. I don't know if
I have this?
Yes. What is this man? This little man.
So I started teaching over Zoom and I got irritated because I can't move people around. So I came up with all sorts of devices. Like this will walk on. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Okay.
Yeah, I have all sorts of people I recruit when I need them because I can't use the class physically the way. So these were born out of Zoom.
Okay. Because you actually said you actually liked.
I do. I like
Zoom improv.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. It's practical. It's functional, gets the job done.
So you mean teaching it, doing it?
All of the above. I don't hate it.
Okay.
I'd rather have Zoom improv than no improv in my life.
Okay, and is that just a COVID thing, or are you still doing it because you're bringing in people from all over the world? Like,
I'm lucky that I'm able to do both. I'm able to teach in person, and then Zoom is great because I can work with people in different time zones. It's great if there's a physical constraint or a financial constraint. Yeah. Zoom, to me, I still think, how do we get along without it? I think Zoom, I love it, but if this is not a popular opinion. People say it makes you a talking head improviser. I don't agree with that. I think it's terrific.
Okay. Hot take. This is hot take on Zoom improv. I would agree. Like for me, it wasn't improv, but I can take a class in New York over Zoom. And before the pandemic, I don't think anyone would have even thought that was a thing, right? And now I can. Like that's amazing because I can't go to New York, every week for 6 weeks to take a class. So yeah, I would. Yeah, it'd be better to be in a room, but yeah, right.
It's not ideal, but something happens.
Okay. So on that note, do you want to play?
Are we going to do it?
You're obviously the very much more skilled, and you're the coach and the teacher. So
you don't know that. I have more experience, but we don't know how the moment's going to go, Sarah.
Okay, but okay, that's true. I just meant like you're gonna set it up and direct, like
all right, okay.
What the game is.
I'm gonna fact you a script real quick. Would you? No, you want to do some improv? Let's do some improv.
Okay, I'm excited. You're like such a good improviser. I'm not going to
No,
get nervous.
you're very sweet to say that. I'm going to take that. I'm going to say yes. Thank you.
Okay.
I really appreciate that. I have a lot of experience improvising and teaching. Thank you. Okay, why don't we just give ourselves either who we are to each other or where we are? Why don't we give ourselves a suggestion of either a relationship or a location, and then we'll improvise a scene.
Okay. Well, I don't have a sister. Do you want to be sisters?
I love sisters. Let's be sisters.
Okay. Hey, it's Mom's
Sheila.
birthday tomorrow.
I know. Mom's birthday is tomorrow.
So I got her a present and I was going to put both of our names on it.
Thank you. Thank you. I swear I'll pay you back. I swear. I've been keeping track of all the money I owe you, and I'll put it on Venmo. I swear. And I'll add the Christmas stuff to it. Like, I'll get you back for this. I appreciate it, Sheila.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's the most important thing is that Mom gets a really great present, right?
I'm just curious. Like, any limit is fine. Are we talking... I'm hoping maybe like $42 a piece is what I'm hoping.
Yeah, it was a little more than that because it's like she's 82. That's a big birthday, right?
82.
Yeah, it's huge. Like in some cultures, that's the birthday. You know this, right? 82. Like not our culture, but some cultures.
Okay, I'm going to go with this. Sheila, we should celebrate our culture. It's our culture.
Jane, I don't think you should be so restrictive about culture. Like, we travel... We read
So you're right. No, you're right.
82,
you're right.
Very lucky
82.
number.
82. Oh, it's a lucky number now. All right. Okay. 82 is lucky.
Yep. So I bought Mom some lucky diamond earrings from both of us. You're welcome.
Okay. I can't get an interview. I'm trying really hard. And Sheila, I wish you'd understand a little, I can't get an interview. Times are tough right now. Nobody wants my specialty.
Yeah. Well, have you thought of changing specialties? Or are you just really I know you love what you do. I know you love what you do.
I do love what I do.
But I just wonder if focusing so much on that one specific part of entomology and ladybug genetics.
Right. Ladybug genetics. If we don't understand ladybugs, we don't understand the world.
I just wonder, your degree's a little more broad than that. Could you find a job with other insects?
Sheila, I'm just going to put this on the table. It is time you admit you're jealous of me. It's just time. Let's just talk about it. Before we go to Mom's and it's all tense and weird on her 82nd lucky birthday.
So lucky.
Yeah. Let's talk about, I think you've been jealous of my etymology degree. Big deal. You're a brain surgeon. So what? I studied etymology. Bugs. It took focus.
Yeah. I'm a bit jealous. Yeah. I'm a bit jealous.
I know it. I know you're jealous of me. I can feel it. We should talk it through.
Well, mostly I'm jealous because you're so passionate about it. And I just don't feel like that about anything. And you're so passionate, you're willing to have no money.
Yeah, I have no money. I mean, I haven't told you, but last weekend I moved into Mom's basement. I'm in the basement. And I met you here for coffee so that you'd think I had a full life. But I'm in the basement. So we could have just as easily had you come over to the house, but then Mom might have overheard.
Okay. Well, you know what? No more debt. You don't have no more debt. We're just going to, no more debt. We're just going to
Oh my God. You mean between us?
Yeah. No more.
Oh, well, I was kind of hoping you could pay off my other debt. I thought, I have other debt too.
Yeah, no, just our debt. That's it.
Our debt.
Just our debt. So
okay,
you
I'll
have to
do
pay me
that.
back for the earrings.
I think we should tread carefully though, Sheila, because Oprah says, you should pay back your family members. I swear I will. I swear. I'm lab job from paying you back. I just got to find the right lab.
The Ladybug Genetics Lab?
Yeah, in Sioux Falls. It's hard. You could at least give me a break. That is hard here in Sioux Falls.
Okay. Well, how do we move forward?
Wait, say that again?
How do we move forward?
Okay, let's move forward. You forgive a financial break.
Yeah.
I'll forgive you of all your transgressions.
Yeah. And my jealousy.
Wait, what?
Jealousy. You'll forgive me for the jealousy.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I will forgive you for that. And clean slate. Let's clean slate it.
Clean slate it. Moving on.
Let me see those earrings.
They're right here.
They're huge. They're like 4 carats.
I know. She's going to love them.
You have to tell me how much.
No, because it's clean slate.
Deal.
I thought you were going to go and see.
You know what? We could be sweep at it.
Oh, yeah. Someone could have swept us. That would have been funny. Sweep. All right. I enjoyed that.
That was so much fun.
Okay. You've been so generous with your time. I love talking to you. I feel like I could talk to you for a lot longer. But I'm getting to the last question. I can't ask you my second last question because you don't practice as an engineer anymore, right?
No, I don't.
No.
I will.
Well,
Do you have a job for me?
No, but actually, okay, I'm going to ask a different question because I usually like to ask people like because a lot of our guests on Comedicine, they're working in their kind of medical sciencey career, but they're doing kind of like me, they're doing like comedy and stuff. And then it's like, well, if you could leave your engineering, pharmaceutical, whatever career, medical career, and do your artistic career full time, would you do that? So you kind of did that. Is that
correct?
So I'm going to ask the opposite way. Would you go back to engineering ever? Or you would?
Yeah, I sure would.
You would?
Yeah, I would do it differently now. I wouldn't do like, I was a consulting engineer. Oh my gosh, it was 75 hours a week at them, as I recall. I mean, that may not be.
Yeah, probably was. Yeah.
I would love, are you ready for this full circle?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to be like an endocrinology medical writer.
Oh.
I think, and do both. Yeah. And while my brain still works, I still read. I read a lot of periodicals now and then, see what's happening. I would like, because if I do full engineering, I miss the creative side. If I do full creative, I miss the other side a little bit. Yeah. I think you and I are similarly programmed that way.
Okay. So you do like a part-time kind of like still using that knowledge and those skills, but not.
And I'm not sure it would even be part-time. Like I would do a 40-hour-a-week job with that and do improv, on the edges. But I cannot do an all-consuming like what I did before. There's no room for anything else. I think the only reason I succeeded at that barely was because I had the benefit of youth.
Yes, I can feel that so strongly because that's how I started my career. It was like 70, 80 hours a week, just like going. And I loved it. But now I'm like, I still love it. People think, oh, you don't like being a vet anymore. I'm like, I love being a veterinary surgeon. I love it so much, but I am doing it the exact amount that I want to just still love it. But you're right. Like when you're doing those kind of crazy intense jobs that much, like there's no room. There's nothing. Like there's no going to the gym. There's no walking your dog. There's no hanging out with your partner, and all your travels associated with your job and all like, so yeah, yes. So, okay. I love that. That's a good answer. Okay. And now we're at the last question. Are you ready? I don't know if you know this is my last question. I'm trying to get Ken Jeong to come on the podcast. So far to no success.
Never say never.
Never say never. So if you could invite him, so you're not talking to me, you're not talking to our listeners, you're just talking to Ken. If you could please improvise an invitation for Dr. Ken Jeong, who was a medical doctor, who's now a famous comedian, to please come on Comedicine.
Well, I love that you're putting this out there. You're putting this out there because this is how it's going to come back to you. I don't know, Mike. I've not met this human. But one never knows who you might run into. I really like this intentional ask because who knows what the future holds.
We can't know.
I think that's neat. I would suspect his career is extremely interesting to you because of that.
Yeah.
And there's so many more dual-minded people. Like there's some famous surgeon who's also a best-selling author. I can't remember this person's name. I feel terrible. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's what we're all about here on Comedicine is like trying to figure these people out and what makes us all tick. And I think it's good. I think having both sides of your brain like that is actually really positive, and trying to work both sides is really positive. But yeah, okay, Ken, we're putting it out there, Ken, into the universe.
Yeah, we're making the offer. We'll see.
Making the offer. Okay. Liz Allen, so glad I got to meet you in class. I'm so glad to have you here on the podcast. I hope we can stay in touch. And thank you so much for being a guest on Comedicine.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This was very fun.
And that wraps up another episode of Comedicine. Thank you so much for listening. It is great having you here. If you have been listening to Comedicine from the beginning, thank you. If you're new to Comedicine, thank you and welcome to our Comedicine community. It is wonderful to have you here. I want to just give a shout out to Mark Edwards, who wrote the music for Comedicine. He's a comedian, an actor, a musician. He's going to be famous, you guys. And then you'll be like, is that the same Mark Edwards? And I'll be like, yeah, he's my friend, you guys. I know him. And he wrote the song. He's amazing. Also, big shout out to Dustin Bays. Thank you for editing the show and producing it. I appreciate you, because I don't know how to do that stuff and I don't want to learn. Yes, it's willful ignorance, I think, at this point, but I'm so glad Dustin is here with me, helping me out with the show. And thank you for being here. If you enjoyed this episode, please like it, share it, do all the things, review it. If you're a sponsor or a potential sponsor, call me. That would be great. If you don't like the show, I don't know why you're still here.